I am going live. I am going live. Just starting a little bit early this evening so we can stay a little on time. Hi, Morgan, JM Seed. I like that name, actually. Okay, that's cool. Hello. Thank you for being my first guest. Like I said, came on a little bit early just to kind of get people off and running. All that jazz. I always like sharing my mugs. It might be backwards, but life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. So that is my mug for this evening. And we'll get started in just a moment, and waiting for arts for everybody as well as other people to join us. And before we get started, I thought I would at least introduce myself and a little bit about this IG Live for tonight. I am Sharon Burton. I am the CEO and founder of Spark Your Creative Coaching. And just want to welcome everybody for my annual IG Live for National Arts and Humanities Month and in celebration for National International Artists Day. A little bit about me. I am an artist. I'm a poet, art curator, teacher artist, creativity coach, and soon to be author. And I, as I mentioned before, I'm the founder of Spark Your Creative Coaching, which specializes in reaching artists, writers, and other creatives at midlife to reclaim, discover, and unblock their creative passion. So really happy to have you here. And just wanted to share a little bit about National Arts and Humanities Month. Many people do know about it. It's held every October, and it's a collective recognition of the importance of culture in the United States. It was launched by the Americans for the Arts more than 30 years ago as National Arts Week, and in honor of the 20th anniversary of the National Endowment for the Arts and the National Endowment for the Humanities. In 1993, it was reestablished by the Americans for the Arts and National Art Partners as a month-long celebration. And one of the things that I think is really key is understanding the goals of National Arts and Humanities Month. It's more than just, a month to celebrate art and humanity. The goals include focusing on equitable access to the arts at the local, state, and national levels, encouraging individuals, organizations, and diverse communities to participate in the arts, which is important, allowing governments and businesses to show their support of the arts, and raising public awareness about the positive impact of the arts and humanities in our communities and lives. National Arts and Humanities Month is an opportunity for everyone to help change the public perception and promote the crucial role of the arts and humanities in promoting individual well-being, addressing trauma, which we're all dealing with in some form or fashion right now, connecting cultures, highlighting inequities, and making our communities healthier and stronger. So that's what we're about today. And once again, it is International Artists Day. And that was founded by a Canadian artist, Chris McClure, in 2004. Since then, October 25th has been a day dedicated to celebrating all the contributions artists have been given to society. International Artist Day honors artists and all the contributions that they make. The day also celebrates one of the most famous artists, Pablo Picasso, who was actually born this day. So, oh, yes, I see Arts for Everybody just joined. And let me bring them online. You're able to join. Okay. This is always the tricky part.
Peace, Sharon. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? I haven't seen you yet. Let's
Oh, you don't see me?
see. Not yet.
I can see you. Put a little light on, maybe it'll make a difference. Can you see me now?
No. Let's see. I always say this is always the tricky part. Let's see. If the folks that are on, if you could just let us know if you can see both of us. Maybe that's the most important thing at this point. If you all could just put in the chat that you can see us both, but I don't see you. Wow.
Sharon, well, if it's any, yes, you could. So Morgan just said
Okay,
she
you
could
can
see us
see us
both. Hey,
both.
Morgan,
Okay.
shout out to Morgan. Good to see you, Morgan.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, we're just going to keep it moving.
yes,
How are you, Clyde? You doing good today?
I'm doing so good, Sharon.
Um,
I'm in Chicago right now. I'm sitting in Binta Diallo's office, who is the program director for arts at the Inner City Muslim Action Network, also known as Iman, which is one of our site partners. There's a community meal happening right now with
oh,
several
wow.
local artists from Inglewood. There's a show up focused on healing, restoration, and spirituality here. So people on the gallery, we're in the south side of Chicago, and it's just a blessing to affirm the power of this work that you're all about, the work that we're all about, and the folks on the call, and to like be in the presence of that energy and to be reminded of its importance. So I am full, and also I am heavy.
Okay. I feel like I know you. There's even just your mannerisms, everything. I feel like I know you. And it's interesting because I believe in this whole thing called soul family. And what that means for me is that I may meet somebody for the first time, but I feel that there's a connection from another time and space. And I think you might be one of those people.
Can,
So hope I
can
didn't woo you out too
No, no,
much, but
no. Can you repeat the phrase that the term you use for that level of connection? Can you just say that again?
a soul family.
Soul family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My friends say that Sharon, you're just a little too deep, and so excuse me. Like, sometimes it shows up in odd times and places, but it also tells me it's a sense of comfort that I have. But I just want to thank you for agreeing to do this. Um, I have never met Clyde Valentin. Is that
Valentine.
how it is?
Valentine.
Valentine. Have
Yes.
never met him, but just from my interactions with his staff and what I've read about the One Nation Project, I am just so excited to have you here in honor of National Arts and Humanities Month and International Artists Day. This is sort of an annual thing that I do, not only as a creativity coach and artist, but just as a way to promote the arts. And I don't even know how I came across arts for everybody, but when I started watching and following you all and really reading into what you were doing, I was like, whoa, this sounds awesome. And so I felt your organization was fitting for this live. So I want to welcome my special guest, Clyde Valentie. Clyde is the founder and co-artistic director for the One Nation Project. He is a multidisciplinary artist, educator, and cultural producer. So we already have a lot in common. He has a passion for exploring the intersections of art and technology and social justice. All of those are among my passions. He's created numerous exhibitions and programs that challenge traditional boundaries. So I just want to officially welcome you.
Thank you.
And again, I reached out to Arts for Everybody to be a guest tonight because I became aware of an intriguing project that you're hosting in 18 cities across the country in July of next year, which is going to be right smack in the middle of a pretty charged year.
Yes.
And I know that's what it is. And I was like, yeah, that is probably the best time to do that. This project is going to focus on promoting intergenerational healthy communities through the magic of art, creativity, and artists. And it's entitled like It Can't Happen Here. And I love that title. I just love all of that. So we're going to dive in to find out more about it because I think it's important. All right, Clyde, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What is the One Nation Project? Which is the parent company for Arts for Everybody, and how did that come about?
Yes, yes. So I'm going to attempt to be as brief as possible so we could, keep the conversation moving.
Sure.
So One Nation, One Project was co-founded by myself and Leah DeBessonnet, who's an amazing artist in her own right. She's a theater maker, director, who has a huge appetite for large-scale participatory work. And we were inspired, she was inspired and shared that inspiration with myself and now 18 communities around the country, from Providence, Rhode Island to Hilo, Hawaii, and from Seattle, Washington to Gainesville, Florida, and many places in between. And we hope and believe that there will be a growing body of participants in and around this moment, which was inspired by the Federal Theater Project, which came out of the WPA in the
Yeah.
late 1930s as a way to reactivate and engage and employ specifically theater artists and theater companies. So with that project, which was based off of an adapted novel that was turned into a play, It Can't Happen Here, which you referenced, folks adapted it accordingly. So the Negro Ensemble in Seattle took the script head on and the theme of fascism and casted white actors as KKK instead of Nazi members. In Birmingham, Alabama, they threw the text out altogether and they had a brass band parade, down their Main Street. In New York City, they translated that play into 2 additional languages beyond English, Yiddish and Spanish. This is the late 1930s, so that just shows you in terms of just the immigrant populations at that time and, who the city of New York was attempting to reach. So that moment and that inspiration has led us to this moment, which, is an invitation for folks to gather locally, hyper locally in their own communities as artists, as change makers, to join all of us together across the country to land on a day, which for us is July 27, 2024. You write about it being smack dab in the middle of some things. We picked July because, you know, it is intergenerational. It's in some communities, it's the last week before school begins.
Mm-hmm.
In places like Tucson, Arizona, school begins the following week. So it's like the end is the beginning of the end of the summer, beginning of the school year. And we truly wanted to sort of address that particular access point, you know, as a participatory moment. In Washington, D.C., where we're working with an organization called Words, Beats, and Light, you know, they have secured the mall on July 27, 2024, to really celebrate DC culture. You know, a lot of things that happen on the mall are national, but they're going to take the prompt "No Place Like Home," which is what we're asking people to really respond to creatively and interpret that by way of what is going to be a food and music festival that features go-go and punk, but also along the way collaborate with a healthcare partner. They have several, but they're aligning some of their work with a federally qualified community health center network in the Washington, D.C. area. So that's been the distinction. We've asked people to consider building new bridges and infrastructure to the health sector in their place. So in some places, it is federally qualified community health centers. Again, I'm sitting in the office of Binta Diallo at Iman, and Iman has a federally qualified community health center right here, and right next to a gallery where there's art all over the place, you know, and there's a show about healing and imagination and restoration, like right now as we speak. So, you know, as one of the co-founders of Iman, Rami, just said, like, these practices are also ancient. You know, they come from our people. These are things we already know to be true. It's in our body. Maybe what's new is that, you know, some of us are looking to build institutional power. You know, some of us are looking to provocate that, you know, we don't need to divide ourselves into these silos, knowing that all of it together is the whole. And in many of our communities, that's exactly what we need, you know? So that's the overall message in part that we're hoping to show and share and tell and amplify come next summer, you know, in the midst of everything else that will be inundating us as, you know, human beings.
Most definitely. So when we look at the basis of these community amplified celebrations of what I consider what brings us together, which might be answering my question kind of, but anyway, I wanted to know why art and creativity. I know from my perspective as an art advocate, as an artist since I was a little 4-year-old, 3-year-old, scratching up and drawing on my mom's living room with a pen and with my twin sister. So you can imagine when she came down what that looked like. Why art and creativity? Why not something else? What was it about really focusing on art for this as the undergrid that for this type of project?
Well, a couple of things. I think first and foremost, like, Lear and I started working together around another project she co-founded called Public Works, which got started out of the Public Theater in New York. And I distinctly remember my first day at a Public Works performance. I was outside the Delacorte with my brother, Will Power, and we were getting ready to see their production of The Tempest. And we were there early, so we were hanging out. It was a nice summer day, you know, Central Park, you know, kicking it. And I could tell based upon the body language of the people who were walking up to the theater who was in the show. And that was familiar to me, that body language, that ownership. That's like a wreck, like I'm here for call and I'm on time as an actor, that disposition. One of like ownership and power and confidence on the part of everyday people, because that particular production had 200 community members in it and only 5 professional actors, right? But that moved me, and the show moved me. So I immediately, at the time where I was working in Southern Methodist University Medical School of the Arts, I was like, Lear and to the rest of the public team, we'd love to adapt this program and bring it to Dallas. And we did, and we saw similar experiences and changes in people. The language in folks started shifting from I to we, in a short period of time. All of a sudden, the Arts District, which felt foreign to many folks in a city like Dallas, which is, highly segregated like many other cities across the country, where, these temples of art and creativity are often, whether they're intended to or not, reek of exclusivity and exclusion, right? Really transformed into a place of inclusion, right? And ownership. And that's had some direct results on people's, physical conditions, So I think that was transformative for me as a creative producer, as a maker, as an artist, as a creative. And, it led to many other forms of work during my time in Dallas at SMU. And then Lear called with this idea, and my immediate sort of impulse was, I hope you're not interested in starting another nonprofit, because I'm not interested in starting another nonprofit. I'm interested in being bold and audacious as a national arts project that is time-based, that helps to galvanize work that is already happening and contribute to the ripples. And this is about creativity, right? So that contributes to the ripples of work and impact that are already around us. How can we shine a different kind of light, being bold and audacious with a kind of scale? And can we find others across the country who are interested in that moment as well? So, why creativity? Why arts? Expression is innate to humanity, right? I just read, just at a glance briefly, the Amazon River, parts of it are drying up. And, some of that riverbed has revealed etchings that are old and ancient of faces, animals. Somebody was, drawing on that riverbed or whatever it was, hundreds of thousands of years ago, and expressing the world around them, a moment of reflection, right? And that's the power of what we share as humans, across our cultures. And all of it is beautiful, right? It has the potential to be beautiful. Another reason why, and this was an apt metaphor from a young hip hop generation social worker that I heard speak one time, where he was like, why expression? So imagine if you're a soda bottle or, a pop bottle, depending on, where you are in the country, and you shake it up, right? When you open the top of that cap, what happens?
It's going to explode.
Right. So if you just kind of ease that cap open just a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more, does it explode?
No, just fizzes, and then it goes down.
Right.
And then it fizzes a little bit, and then it goes down. Then after a while, it just calms itself to
right. So when we have the opportunity to be seen, to express ourselves, and again, I'm not saying everyone's a professional artist. I'm not saying everyone is Van Gogh, right?
Right.
But when we have the ability to be seen and to be heard and to express ourselves, we ease the tension that might be in our body. That is healing versus the inevitable explosions that we see happening around us all the time. People
Mm-hmm.
lose their stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And COVID did not help us in that
No.
regard. And
No. It
we have not taken the moment to ease the bottle cap as a country. So that's why.
absolutely. Okay. Well, I am down with that. Um, do you see this happening on an annual basis? You don't see this as a one shot, feel good moment, and then, do you see it um, not only being an annual event, but that it will spin off to other things in the community, on a year-long basis?
I'll say that again, I'm really I'm getting better at sort of drawing from the metaphors and the stories immediately around me that I have the privilege of bearing witness to.
Mm-hmm.
And Iman just celebrated their 26th anniversary as an
Oh,
organization, right? This place is exemplary in terms of the integration of art, culture, and expression across all the various services that they provide for this community
mm-hmm.
in the southwest side of Chicago. So I think for us, there's a lot of power in committing to this as a time-based project that happens, this one time. You know, I'm also staying open to
Mm-hmm.
iterations and the evolutions of what we learned, because I could tell you
Mm-hmm.
this was a single piece of paper and it was conceptual, you know, then, which was roughly 24 months ago, to where we are today. And right now, I couldn't have imagined it as deeply as I'm experiencing it, right? So if I know anything, I know I need to continue to stay open. I need to listen. We need to listen. And we need to see, and this sort of is a little bit of my entrepreneurial brain, we need to see the space that we can continue to fill that needs to be filled.
Yeah.
Because I believe we're doing that with this project, which is
Mm-hmm.
just connecting work that's been going on for 26 years and work that's being tried for the very first time. You know, Chicago's the only place where we have two site partners. The other site partner is actually an intergovernmental project between the Department of Special Events and Cultural Affairs, Cultural Affairs and Special Events, DCASE, the Chicago Public Health Department, and Malcolm X College, which is part of the Community College Network here in Chicago. And they're working with 10 artists that they just selected who are being trained up as community health workers. And they're going to be paired up across 5 publicly operated mental health clinics across the city, excuse me. So that's a pilot. The reason why that program exists is because Maida McNeil, who works at DCASE, said yes to this work as an artist in her own right,
Mm-hmm.
and then began to do the work she needed to do to find her partners across the city government to, create and design the thing that has potential resonance well beyond the pilot, where there could be not just 10 artists, but 20 artists or, 25 artists. As Alyssa, who runs these clinics as part of her portfolio from the public health department, said, I want us to move away from the term clinic towards wellness centers. And when you walk into these spaces, you walk into acceptance and being seen,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't think you're in a place that's punitive, but a place
Yeah.
that's welcoming, that sees you, right? So this is the public health person having this conversation with us. This is why she said yes. So whether we continue or not, part of what we've helped to create is the possibility of continuance and
Yeah.
and new forms of collaboration happening, not only in Chicago, but in 17 other places around the country.
Most definitely. And, you know, this whole thing also piqued my interest because I do have a background in public health, um, and urban administration. So this whole thing is just like, wow, I wish I was on the ground floor with that. That sounds like something that's definitely up my alley. And it's good to hear that we have people in public health that sees it beyond the sterile public health clinic, you know, which may or may not have a negative connotation, you know, as far as what their role is in the community. So it's quite interesting to hear that suggestion of wellness centers. That really, I'm just like, wow. You know, I'm just so glad to see that in some aspects, public health has moved, you know, into a different space as far as how they see themselves and serving community. So thank you for that. That kind of
Absolutely.
juiced me
I
a
mean,
little bit.
municipal leaders are asking themselves this question in terms of how it looks, right? So, our partners from the National League of Cities that service,
Hmm.
municipal leaders, like their division around, public health, which is, one of our partners, like they're about this, and mayors and municipal leaders, county leaders are asking these questions, regardless of where they are in the country. They understand that, they have to do more and they have to do different. So what is that, right? Insurance companies are exploring some of this. There's a movement around something called social prescribing, a social prescription, or arts as prescription, which is all about being able to empower clinicians and medical practitioners with the ability to prescribe
Mm. Oh
social
yeah.
remedies to
Yeah.
where people might be. So that might be a painting class. That might be a pottery class. I mean, there's folks right now in a pottery class here at Iman, working the kiln and so forth. It
Love
could
it.
be
I
yoga.
love
It could be, here's a prescription so you can afford to go to the green market on weekends
it.
and buy fresh
Hmm.
produce from your local grower, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, I think whether COVID accelerated some of this shift or not, which is, I think, still to be determined by the researchers and the folks sort of studying, uh, all of us, if you will, at a, at the macro level, we're all a part of something, you know,
Yeah.
that
You
is.
know, this reminds me of an effort that was, and I don't know age-wise what you were, but um, I know in the beginning of my professional career, I was involved with the Healthy Communities movement that National League of Cities and National Civic League was involved with back in the early 90s.
Mhm.
And this seems to be kind of revisiting that, but taking a creative spin on that, which I think is awesome.
We're
So
working with some folks from that particular department inside the NLC, the Healthy Communities Division, inside the Institute for Youth Education and Families. And you're right. The distinction here is that we're putting arts and culture and artists at the center of this work.
right,
And that's very,
right.
very
And
critical because we're artists and we're
yes,
creatives,
yeah.
you know?
And I'm so glad to hear that. We're getting short on time. I think we're actually going a little bit over. And if you could just hang in there for two more questions. Um, cities, I don't want you, you don't have to name all 18, but what cities is a part of this? I know Washington, D.C., which is the area that I live in, and I'm very familiar with Words, Beats, and Life. They've been around for quite some time. They've done some awesome things. I was very happy to see that, and I plan to reach out to see how I can get involved because this is definitely up my alley.
These
What other cities? You mentioned Chicago. Who else?
Chicago, Seattle, Washington with the Wayne Luke Museum, Oakland with Edutainment
Oakland.
for
Okay.
Equity. We're working with Kansas City with an arts organization called Arts as Mentorship. We're working with Edinburgh, Texas with the city of Edinburgh and several local artists, who are helping to lead that project alongside the city. Gainesville, Providence, Rhode Island, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Harlan County, Kentucky, with an amazing organization called Higher Ground. They're partnering with their local federally qualified community health center called Clover Floor Clinic. We're working in the Bronx with Urban Health Plan, which is a leader in the FQCHC space. They're all about bringing arts across their network. They run 12 clinics. They're starting with the flagship clinic in the Bronx. Man, who am I leaving now? I'm leaving some folks. Tucson, Arizona, Hilo, Hawaii, with this organization called Vibrant Hawaii. The team will be there next week, meeting with the artistic cohort there. Pahunahuna Society in Honolulu, Hawaii. So we have two Native Hawaiian organizations, one focused in the rural community, which is, Hilo, or in and around Big Island, and then obviously an urban one with the folks in Honolulu. I mentioned Providence already. Mentioned Gainesville, Utica, Mississippi, Phillips County, Arkansas. I think I almost gave you the 18 right there.
I was like, whoa, Utica, Mississippi. I grew up near Utica, New York.
So Utica, Mississippi is in Jackson County, so it's just about 30 miles southwest of Jackson, the capital.
Oh, okay.
But it's community of like 900 people.
So this seems to be something that is not only in urban settings but also rural and small towns, which is awesome.
Yes.
And
That's intentional.
I didn't look at the list that closely, but it's good to hear that. So, how can people get involved with this effort if they live in or near these cities? That's one question, part A, and part B, if you don't live near these communities, but maybe thinking, I would like to do this for my community.
Right.
How would one go about any of that?
The first answer is the easier one right now, and that is, just go to our website, artsforeverybody.org, see who's doing what, where, and exactly to mention Rhinelander, Wisconsin, which is another rural community, and, the upper Midwest, they're closer to Canada than they are to some other parts of the country. But, go to the website and see where you are in proximity, and then ask the leaders on the ground that we're working with that very same question. How can I be involved? How can I be supportive? What do you need? I mean, this is a highly layered, complex, and collaborative project. We are, we are leading and following at the same time. We've entered or attempted to enter, in the spirit of every single relationship and collaboration with that intentionality of you are the experts in your own community. You have the answers and you've been already working on those answers, right? Or you've been poking around, finding answers to the things that you want to see change in your specific place. So that invitation to just sort of like reach out to folks and provide support, I think is an open invitation. And everyone we're working with, I think, will be ready to receive that in the most open way possible and perhaps strategic, right? It can't just be like, I'm an artist, I want to do this thing with y'all, and but that has to be determined in the most bespoke way. I think the other, the second part is more nationally, or if you're not yet in proximity to one of these places, but you're thinking about, how this can look. I was just talking to Nataki Garrett, our co-artistic director, who's also in Chicago. She just had to jump on a plane back home to Oakland. That we have to have an answer to that question. We know we have to have an answer to that question. We have an opportunity in a moment to galvanize the country, because this project is a national project, and we are working all across the country, not just big cities, but rural communities, as you acknowledged, mid-sized cities, places like Gainesville and Kansas City and Edinburgh. there really is everybody. You know, when you look at the our current map,
Mm-hmm.
engaged, right? Um, you know, whatever this false binary is of, you know, blue states, red states, nonsense. You know, this is the United States.
Right.
Um, and, you know, there's an aspiration to this work in that regard, too, about the strength of the diversity of cultural expression that we will have an opportunity to bear witness to, that happens on the same day across America on July 27, 2024. So we're working on that too, the extending the invitation in accessible, achievable, and affordable ways, so that folks can join in the megaphone that we're hoping to create next summer.
I am just looking forward to it. I will be following, and like I said, I want to be a part of it in some way, so I will be reaching out to the local organizers. I just want to say thank you very much. I know that you're on the ground working in Chicago, so I don't want to take up any more of your time. I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you. Thank
I think
you.
this is the kind of project, particularly for artists that are really serious about social change and about healthier communities.
Indeed.
And it's the type of thing that can be the ripple effect for things that are going on nationally and
Yes.
internationally. And so, when, I know a lot of artists sometimes say, well, what can I do? And blah, blah, there is so much as artists that we can do. And that's why National Art and Humanities Month is
Yes.
important. That's why International Artist Day is important, because it's not only putting that spotlight on creativity and in using your talents, but it's also looking at where are the intersections between the artist as citizen, the artist as global citizen, the artist as social justice advocate, and if you know your art history, you know, art has always been a form of education and helped with so many movements. And so, this is one
That's right.
of many that are going on, but this is one that is accessible for a lot of different people at a lot of different size cities across the country.
Yes.
And so that's why I felt, uh, as a person that gets into, all of the above, public health and healthier communities, art, all that. That's why I felt it was important to bring this to my audience. And again, thank you so much for being a guest, for highlighting what you're doing. We'll be following, and I will be sharing some of the stuff that you all are doing.
Thank you.
So this is not the end. You haven't got rid of me just
Good.
because I interviewed.
Good. We need more. We need more of us. So thank you, Sharon. I really appreciate the time. It's a pleasure to meet you in this space, and
Yeah.
I hope to see you in and around the DMV.
Yes, yes. Keep me, just send me a DM if you know you're going to be coming through here.
Well,
I would love to meet with you and the folks, that are involved here. So, if your time permits, would love to do that.
thank you.
Very, very much for that. Thank you so much. Take care
Bye bye.
and safe travels.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching.
Yes.
And feel free to comment below if you have any questions or anything. We'd be more than happy to address them. Take care and have a great evening.
Peace.
Bye-bye. Peace.